Hey there everyone, it's Laurel. Welcome to another Simply Card Making video in my series. Today I am back doing my collaboration with Laura Sturks. We call it the collab with the two L's. We've done it before and I'll be sure to link right here to the project I made, and her blog will be linked below in the YouTube description. This is the card I'm making today. Shakers scared the bejeebies out of me. If you know me, you follow me, you know it's true. I filmed it. I did. I made a shaker because Laura is the shaker queen. When I think of Laura, I think of sequins and shakers. So we are both using the Just Jelly stamp set by Lawn Fawn. And to make my circle cutout, I am using the Stitched Circles Stackable by Lawn Fawn. And I've got a piece of teal cardstock there. I'm just gonna lay it open. I don't want to cut through both panels there, and then just get some sticky tape and apply that die down. Stick it down and run it through my die cutting machine. So I've got that cute little stitch circle die I can use later. I don't need it for today's card. Look how I just tossed it off to the side. All right, so this is some 90-pound cardstock. I've never heard of this brand. I really don't know how I got it in my stash, but I found when I'm using the Zig markers that the 90-pound is the key. Chris Dayton is the one that turned me onto that because I was so frustrated I couldn't get my zigs to blend, and I actually sold them to her, and she encouraged me to get them out of the packaging and try it with some 90-pound cardstock, and I did, and it made all the difference. Another cardstock that works well for this is the Bristol, which is not a watercolor quote-unquote paper. So that I picked up from Hobby Lobby when they were having a huge sale, 40% off. So those are the papers I use anytime I do my zigs. So I've got some of this Hero Hues black ink. It's a dye ink, so it's waterproof. And I went ahead and stamped a bunch of these jellyfish and starfish down on the paper, on that 90-pound paper. And then I'm going to go in and color it with these Zig clean, clear brush markers. I never say the title right. But I'm going to turn on some music here because I'm going to do quite a bit of coloring. You can fast forward through this if you want. And then I will be back after all the coloring is done. All right, so you can see I'm just going in and adding some colors and doing whatever. Anytime I use any kind of watercolor, I always keep a cloth nearby so I can dab some of the color away if I get too much where I don't want it. I am using a watercolor brush. It's the Zig watercolor brush. I think it's the small tip one. And in some cases, I am actually just using the marker itself without blending it out with too much water. I wanted to keep these colors pretty intense and bright because instead of using the clear packaging that a lot of people use for the shaker, I'm going to use some vellum. So vellum always mutes down. I love vellum, by the way. And vellum always kind of mutes down the color. So I wanted to make sure I'm using some bright colors here so it shows through in the vellum. Otherwise, I've just wasted my time doing all this coloring. So I'm just about done here. I just wanted to have a good amount. I actually ended up making and coloring more than I needed. So I'm going to finish this off, and then I'm going to take the coordinating dies, and I'm using that same masking tape there, and I'm just going to stick it down and then run it all through my die cutting machine here. And then when I'm done, you get all these cute little jellyfish and starfish. They're just so cute, and because I used the dies, they have that white border all around it. So I have that vellum there. That's that 43-pound vellum by Ellen Hudson. And I just kind of laid it over my die cuts just to make sure the color looked good, and it did. So I'm going to trim that down. And then that's going to be my little window for my shaker. So I'm going to adhere that down with my favorite glue, which is the Ranger Multi Matte Medium. I love it for two reasons. It's really strong, and then it dries completely matte. It's like invisible, and I'm really messy when I use glue. I mean, look, it's all over my mat. So I just love this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that all down, and then we're going to be ready to stamp the sentiment there. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm working off of the new craft mat that I have, the Ken Oliver Best Ever craft mat. I love it. My markers are staying in place. My dies aren't it kind of keeps your paper in place too. I'm really, loving it the more I'm using it. I will post a link if you're interested in seeing the product review video I did on this mat and where you can get it. All right, so I'm stamping the I'm So Jelly from that same stamp set with some Onyx Black ink. It's a pigment ink, so I can sprinkle on some embossing powder. I'm using some clear embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat set that there. I let my heat gun heat up for a good 15 to 20 seconds before I took it to my project. And now that that's done, we are actually ready to create the shaker part of the card, which is what has always failed me miserably in the past. I thought I got everything all, in there and secure, and then I'd go to shake it and yeah, they'd fly all over the place. So I've got this double-sided tape. I'm going to take some scissors and just cut it down the middle to make two skinny strips, trying my best not to cut my fingers off with these ginormous scissors. And I'm just going to go around the outskirts of this circle. I'm making sure that the foam dimension doesn't go overlap into the circle, because then you'll be able to see it from the other side, but I'm keeping it close up to the edge because I want all of the sequins and the dies, I want them visible. So I'm making sure that each end is touching, which I guess is where I failed miserably in the past. So I'm just like shoving them up. They're like butting up next to each other. I want those babies to touch. And then I've got my little dimension there. If you want a shaker card that moves all around and you want to load it up with a bunch of stuff, you can actually layer another layer of that foam dimension over the top to have even more depth. These are some sequin mixes and beads and stars from the Ton Stamp Company. They have an amazing collection of embellishments. They've got these big stars that you see me putting in now. They've got little tiny itty bitty mini stars. They're so cute. They've got sequins. They've got beads, all different kinds of beads. I don't know anything about beads, but there's a couple different kinds of beads that they have. They're really pretty colors. And that thing, I'm holding them all in, that thing, you like how I talk, is actually something I saw on Ruby. She's one of the Ton Design Team's members. She did a good post on this and what she used, and I loved it. It looks pretty. It keeps everything all nice and organized, so I went and grabbed it. So I love it. It's so pretty. I've got it all color-coded by color. The Ton also has these mixes that I love. So they've got sequins, stars. See, here's some of the mini stars. They put all these mixes together, so it's like a no-brainer for me, because I would always struggle what goes with what, and they have all these different color combinations, and they mix in those stars. I just think it's super cute. I like their mixes. So I've got all that in, and now I'm going to go in and add the die cuts. I'm making sure to put them face down because I don't want the card to have the back of the die on them showing. That would be a funny looking card. And I am loading it up pretty tight. I don't want too much movement going on in here. So if you want a lot of movement, you can simply not add as much, or you can add another layer of that foam dimension to give yourself more room. So now I'm going to peel off the backing paper carefully, because in the past I have peeled off the backing paper. My card has jumped off the table and all of my stuff went flying all over the table. I don't know if that's ever happened to you or not, but it happened to me on more than one occasion, I'm embarrassed to say. So I'm carefully removing that's why I'm moving so slow, carefully removing the backing paper. And then I'm ready to kind of seal all these things in and cross my fingers, my toes, and my eyes and hope that nothing falls out. So this is a piece of white cardstock that I trimmed down. You could also, do some watercoloring or add a design to it or whatever you want to do, because you're going to actually see this background through the vellum, but I just wanted to keep it white, wanted to keep it clean. But it would certainly look awesome if you did added some watercoloring or some kind of design or something on it. And so you can see the white shining through. And then I want to pop up one jellyfish and one starfish. I almost said octopus. It's clearly not octopus. One jellyfish, one starfish with some foam dimension, and just pop it up there in the corner. And my little things are shaking around. I'm going to round the corners with my We Are Memory Keeper corner rounder. And I'm going to shake it and nothing is falling out. Woohoo! I'm having a little secret party here. You can't tell, but I was so excited that nothing fell out. So here's a close-up of all the bits inside. Isn't that pretty behind that vellum? I just love vellum shakers. I love vellum, period, but I especially am drawn to vellum shakers. So that's it. Collab with the 2 L's. Be sure to check my description below. I'll have a link to Laura's blog where she's using the same stamp set. And that's that. If you see that little click here to subscribe button at the bottom, if you haven't already and you click it, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.